Welcome to the eCom Collab Club podcast, where operators, risk takers, and battle-tested founders drop the lessons that cost them time, money, and their sanity, and share what actually works so you don't have to pay the same price. Hosted by Peter Gardner and Adam Pierce, founders of the eCom Collab Club and Blend Commerce, the Shopify CRO agency, and proudly sponsored by OmniSend. Email and SMS marketing so good, it's boring.
Hello, guys, and welcome to the eCom Collab podcast. I'm Adam Pierce, and I'm here, as always, with my co-host and co-founder, Peter Gardner. Now, guys, look, today, I want to talk about when your welcome sequence is printing money, but your cat keeps inching up and your repeat orders effectively are stalling. Now, shoppers want answers now, not after the next inbox refresh. So the thing is here, why don't we meet them where they already gossip, nag and negotiate inside their chat apps? Now, today, guys, we're going to unpack how WhatsApp list conversions without stealing thunder from your all-star email flows. And for that, welcome Abhishek Chandra from GoKwik. Abhishek, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a lovely day in London, so happy to do this podcast.
Absolutely. Sun is shining.
Yeah.
Well, at least you've got that going for you today, Adam. And you want to tell everybody about your last traffic law mishap right now?
Yeah. So 25-minute journey from dropping the kids off to the office usually takes, 25 minutes and took me an hour. So, yeah, I'm fresh out my car, guys, but roaring and ready to go.
You slightly out of breath, and I was the one with asthma. Jeez, this is great. Good start to the old eCom Collab Club podcast. Yeah. It wouldn't be our podcast without that wonderful start.
Absolutely.
Abhishek, thank you so much for jumping on with us. We're really looking forward to chatting to you about everything with SMS. But before we dive in, for those of the listeners that have not yet LinkedIn stalked you like I did, could you give us a little bit of your background? What got you into this position? What's your experience, playing in the e-commerce game and marketing, conversational marketing? What's going on?
It's great. Thank you for having me, guys. I'm really excited to this podcast. I'll give you a quick background about us. So we started GoKwik 4 years back with a simple problem statement that we were obsessed on creating an Amazon kind of experience on the D2C world. All right. So we created multiple products to, let's say, improve the checkout conversion rates, conversational commerce, return experience. How can we reduce frauds? So during that journey, I worked really close with all the DTC founders in different geographies. So I realized that the problem statements is same across, whether you are from a developing economy or a well-developed economy, the problems are same everywhere. So this is where we are now. We work with over 12,000 brands globally who are using one of our products at least. And so it's a humbling experience. It's just been 4 years and being trusted by 12,000 brands. So basically we carry too much, too many things on our shoulders, too many responsibilities. So yeah, but happy with whatever we are doing because we are very highly obsessed that how can we solve different problems for these DTC brands. So yeah, so we'll be chatting about that today.
Awesome. And personally, what were you doing 4 years before that?
So I always being a startup person. So in fact, I joined my first startup during my university days itself, and that in India, because 13-14 years back, you hardly seen any internet startups who were doing, let's say, really well. So everyone was starting at the same time, and we wanted to build like a PayPal for India. All right, and cut to 10 years. So they're like two large wallet players in India. So one of the companies was MobiKwik, where I started my journey with, and we became too big that PayPal has to leave India. So now PayPal doesn't exist. So there are like two large digital wallets that exist in India, and both the companies are publicly listed. So before GoKwik, I was trying to solve the fintech problems for a billion customers in India. So during that time, I was working on both. Let's say, how can we give those services to the end customers living on the remotest of the village in India, and also solving the same problem, that how these customers can make a purchase on a DTC website or a large marketplace like an Amazon. So for 10 years, I've been just a startup guy. So I spent all my 20s solving this problem. So when I entered my 30s, I was always like, oh, I have to keep doing that because this keeps me young. So here am I.
What makes you older quicker?
Yeah,
You can see from the grey in my beard that it definitely does that.
absolutely. I have to cover it up every week. So
Yeah, join the club, Abhishek. Join the club, mate. But I mean, is that kind of the thing that drives you? And is it about kind of, because I guess, look, in entrepreneurship, some people start businesses because they are looking for particular financial gains off the back of it. Some people start businesses because they're looking to solve a particular problem. Is that what really drives you of focusing on a specific problem to tackle?
absolutely, I think it's a combination of both, because the era when I was born, let's say in the late 80s, all right. So India was not, it was growing, but it was not that growing, and I always wanted to build a company which can solve problems for people, but it was not very easy because the capital was not available for everyone. Mostly the businesses were transferred from generation to generation. But at least to my advantage, I was born in the era where internet was there. So internet basically democratized for everyone. Anyone who has an ambition, they can build a company on top of that.
Yeah.
So at least I was lucky enough that I was born in that era, and so which solved both my problems. That how can I, so in a developing economy, how can I stand out in terms of, let's say, uh, getting myself basically more financially independent, and at the same time, how can I solve, let's say, problem of a billion people, because I wanted to make a contribution in the society, that okay, through me, let's say there are like few hundred people who are able to, let's say, get their livelihood, and also they have an opportunity to grow in the same space. So yeah.
That's awesome. And I think, look, on that kind of note of kind of problems, I wanted to kind of dive in, first of all, to something that obviously everyone listening will be pretty familiar with, and that is obviously email and sort of traditional SMS. And I think, the question that I've got for you is that, thinking about sort of that email and SMS problem, do you think there's any kind of signals that brands listening can see or should be looking out for, that they can kind of see when, look, a well-run email program, SMS program has sort of, I guess, look, like hit a limit?
Yep. So see, the thing is, every 5 to 10 years, just like technology, we humans also evolve. So if you have, and there is a paradigm shift on how we consume content, how we communicate with people. So just an example, 10 years back, people were talking to their friends and family on Facebook. Then Instagram came, people started moving from Facebook to Instagram. Now there are other channels like TikTok, and they keep coming. So people, generations by generation, or every 5 years, people change their mode of communication. Similarly, emails were pretty relevant 10 years back, because other channels were not there. So emails were doing very well. People were constantly on their laptops checking emails, that whether it's a work email or the promotional content which they were getting. So emails were very relevant. Then SMS came. So SMS also had a fair share of success during their early days, but eventually in the last 10 years, the companies have exhausted their limits on emails and SMS, because they didn't have choice. They kept reaching out their customers on emails and SMS. That is why even the companies who were running emails, like let's say Gmail, they themselves created hurdles, like by creating, let's say, a promotion section or a update section. All right. So anyway, and also one very important thing which you have to understand, that let's say the late millennials or the Gen Zs, they were the mobile first customers. All right, so they whatever content they were consuming was on mobile. So that is why the advent of WhatsApp was very successful for this generation. In fact, now people like us also, when we wake up, the first thing we see is our WhatsApp, that maybe someone has messaged us there. All right, so as a brand also, you have to be where your customer is, and now the customer is on WhatsApp. So this was a gradual shift. So it's not something that, let's say, a GoKwik or any other company has pushed. This is how the world has moved
Sure.
towards.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, is it, because a lot of brands get to that point where they've kind of got a bloated list, haven't they, from an email perspective? And I suppose what I'm interested in here is, do you think it's kind of what hurts the most in that respect? Is it money? Is it time? Is it trust? If they keep on with that, sort of, how does it affect them if they just continue to push that email agenda only?
So beyond a point, people start ignoring emails. So I have seen with thousands of brands that see, anyway the cost of acquisition is going to the roof, and there is a reason to that. Companies like Facebook, or let's say Meta or Google, they have to deliver shareholder value, so the cost has to go up. All right, so the only way for a DTC brand, and let's say if I take UK as a market, so UK is a evolved DTC market. It's not that every day there is an infusion of, let's say, capital in the DTC world. So the market is already there now. With whatever limited resource people have, the brands have, they have to keep growing. All right, but so what people used to think, that even if, let's say, I have to acquire a customer at a higher cost from, let's say, Facebook or Google, I can make my money during repeat purchases. But what typically everyone, in fact, I've read many reports and all, what is typically happening is, after the first purchase, customers generally move on, or like they're like, okay, I've made a purchase, let me, whenever, let's say, I need the product back, if I really like the product, I'll come back in 3-4 months when I really want the product. But during that time, someone in your same category is running an ad for this particular product, and Meta and Google is showing your customer as a potential customer in that category. All right, so by the time the customer gets ready for a repeat purchase, they have been acquired by, again, a new brand, and this cycle keeps repeating. All right, so and because people don't see their emails and SMS most often now, so that is why this conversational commerce is at least a very new thing since the last 2-3 years, because it keeps the customer engaged on a more regular basis. And in fact, I'll quote some examples also as we move forward in this podcast. So, but this is how the things have changed.
No, that's great insight, and thank you, Abhishek. No, that's great.
Abhishek, you touched on this quite a bit now in that last answer, in terms of the repeat purchase flow. How does slow one-way messaging like email and SMS leak profit after that first sale?
Yeah, so I think the same. I have the same answer, that whenever, let's say, because it's one way, so you send a message or an email. Now it's up to the customer when they actually will read that. All right, so, and because there are too many messages or emails sent on a daily basis, so the open rate of these platforms are slowly and steadily going down. So on an average, the open rates for emails are 12 to 15%. Similarly, SMS is in the range of 30 to 40%. All right, so when we started, in fact, we had a similar problem in the Asian world also, that these numbers were going down month over month, year over year. So when WhatsApp was launched, uh, uh, in fact, Meta started focusing on India first, because they have a motive, because it has 1 billion customers there. So when we started working with Meta, what we realized was that WhatsApp had a 5% open rate in the first, 90% open rate in the first 5 minutes itself. So when the customer is actually active, when they are actually in a dilemma whether I should take an action or not. So, and when you start implemented various use cases around when the customer is actually active, the chances of converting that customer is really high. All right, and also on back of the mind, customer knows that it's a both way communication. So even if, let's say, they don't like a particular message which they have received from a brand, they can revert on it real time.
Yeah.
Either it can be don't send me this message, or can you share more. But
Yeah.
customer is, so there is more power with the customer. So customer feel more empowered when they are communicating with the brand via WhatsApp, because they know it's both way, and someone on the other hand is at least listening to the problem.
Mm. But you've almost got that ability to have that salesperson, like you do in a physical retail store, actually standing there talking to them, explaining the product, actually telling the benefits, actually being able to bust their objections if they've got any, things like that. So is that the way that this is beating out email and SMS?
Absolutely, absolutely. See, with the advent of AI, all right, AI and AGI, these things, in fact, these kind of conversational commerce will blow up in future, because 90 to 95% of the communication will be handled by the bot itself, which will look like very human.
Yeah.
In terms of because see, there are like large learning models which are being run. In fact, for a company like us, we are a primarily data science company. We have close to 70 data scientists who are just working on this model, so that because on our portfolio itself, we know that the 90% of the questions which customers ask are repeated questions. All right. So the bot is able to answer those questions at a 90% accuracy, and so they'll be able to solve the 90% of the queries which a customer is sending to the brand. And in 10% of the cases, an automatic the agent can be involved in between. A real agent can be involved in between. So instead of answering all the 100 queries which a customer is sending, an agent is only required to, let's say, answer 10 of those, because 90% are already automated by the bot. And
Yeah.
and you know, with chat GPT and all, even if you converse with the bot, how real it feels like.
Yeah, 100%. So that you're bringing that now to SMS, basically, that full on AI generated talking based, trained on your brand, knows exactly what your products are, and that's conversing. In terms of percentages, we've obviously talked about email and SMS and the open rates that you get there. I think with email, I think you're lucky if you're getting 40 to 50% open rates. That's one thing. You've got to get them to open, but then you've also got them get them to reply to you, and they've got to, it's a two-way conversation. What is the percentage of people, one, opening it, and two, then interacting with it?
Absolutely. So in the UK market, after working with over 100 brands, what I can say is still the open rates are 90% in the first 5 minutes itself, and the click-through rates is around 15%. So which is way higher than what you can see on an email so click-through rate means a customer is actually taking an action. All right.
Yeah.
So once the click-through rate is so high, then your chances of converting that customers also go up by at least 4 or 5 times, because the click-through rates are in the range of, let's say, 3 or 4% in terms of SMS. All right. So because the click-through rate is so high, so it's a better chance with the brand.
Okay. And is it because these people, when they're coming in, they have higher intent from the start? Or is that, it's the same, it's sort of the same quality of person that's through that at that point?
So I think intent is always similar to what you see on an email, on an SMS. So I'll give an example. So intent can be different for different use cases. For example, when we came to this country, first thing we told the brands was never to start with a marketing campaign on WhatsApp, because it will look spammy. All right. You have to implement the most basic of the basic use cases, like, let's say, abandoned cart recovery, or let's say an order confirmation message on WhatsApp. So once your customer is warmed up to those ideas, because see, the thing is, even though we have GDPR compliance and all, but the transactional confirmation messages can be sent on mobile also. So with me on SMS and WhatsApp. So you don't need to take any additional approval for that, because you are telling a customer that, hey, your order is processed. All right. Or let's say, thanks for placing the order. But once you place that order using WhatsApp, once you get that confirmation on WhatsApp, you can be very creative. It cannot be, it cannot just be like a text that, hey, thanks for placing the order. It can come with a message like, hey, thanks for placing the order. This is how you assemble this product. or this is how you can apply this product. And because it's a video and customer sees that video on, let's say, how to, it can be a DIY video or of anything. So it's like the first conversation which started happening between you and the brand. Now, once, let's say, order confirmation happens, then slowly and steadily you move to, let's say, taking a feedback from the customer, a customer rating, or let's say, in fact, before even taking the feedback, you can share a live tracking link with the customers on WhatsApp. So now, if it's a first time customers, they can keep clicking on the track order link till the time they actually receive the product, which will add a first layer of credibility. So because even if you send the order, let's say, order tracking message on email, because people don't read those emails so email so frequently, so they are always under a dilemma that when will I get my product, when the brand were actually sending those messages. But once you send it on WhatsApp, people will keep clicking on it till the time they receive the product.
So I 100% be one of those people if if I was getting a WhatsApp message.
And it doesn't happen during the second purchase, because now they already trust the brand that okay, they've received the product in, let's say, 3 days or 5 days.
Yeah, we're going to get it. So initially what you're saying is when you're first starting out, use it more as your transactional data, your transactional messages, but also then more as a retention tool than an acquisition tool for that first time buyer.
Yeah.
And then transition.
So slowly and steadily you transition towards marketing. So first, let's say for any brand who has, let's say, started using a WhatsApp commerce channel. So it starts with order confirmation, order tracking, feedbacks, and then slowly and steadily, let's say after 40 days, once the customer is warmed up, then you will start your campaigns. And campaigns can start with, let's say, your most loyal customers, by giving them an early access, or like to an offer. If you have launched a set of, if you are running a campaign, so you can always incentivize your most loyal customers. Hey, thanks Adam for being the most loyal customers. Here is a 20% off for you, and you have the first access for the next 48 hours. So which means now the customer feels more closer to the brand. And also in many cases, what I have seen is there are like many founders who are like the face of the brand. They are sending amazing newsletters to the customers saying, hey Peter, thanks for being the most loyal power customer of our brand. Here is a thank you note. Here's a video, and with a video which is thanking the customer. All right. So these are the things which and because again 90% open rate, so at least most of the customers are looking at the newsletter of the founder. So now they feel much more closer to the brand after that.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that, because like I've always said, and I've said it a few times on this podcast, I've said, for me, WhatsApp is more of the intimate space. That's where I talk to my friends and family, and like I don't want brands in there. But what you're saying is that's how brands should meet people there. They should meet in more that personal. They should meet as you say, the founder coming in to send you a message, coming in to send you a thank you message, maybe asking you a question about how the product is. More of that personal type of touch instead of that broad approach. I know it is obviously still broad because you're still going out after a lot of people, but it's that personal because it feels more personal. Is that correct?
Absolutely. See, in fact, in our category, though we are the largest WhatsApp commerce company globally, but there are like still hundreds of different companies which are like spread across the world. And the first problem and the first mistake they make is to just keep marketing. All right. Product. And we have learned because we've been running this product for the last 3 years. Now we have made those mistakes in our early days. We have learned from them. We understand that what works in a particular category and what not. Because see, every category has a different buying cycle. All right. If let's say your product gets consumed in five months, why to send a message to a customer in the second month itself? All right. So depending on the frequency of purchases in every category, so the communication should be very different, and so that actually the customer ends up liking that communication and it doesn't feel like spammy.
Yeah, because I think Abhishek, look, when you and I first met, sort of just over a year ago, I think my perception of WhatsApp was it was more about selling than serving. And I think within a few minutes of talking to you, I was actually blown away by the fact that it was more about serving than selling. And I think that's the interesting thing. And I think even now, when I speak to people WhatsApp, their perception of it is very much about that push from day one. And what you've always said to me and what I've seen you do with your clients is it's exactly like you described there. It's actually making it easier for them, serving them in the way that email and SMS couldn't serve them. And then when it is the right time to kind of take that through. And thank you for kind of, look, it's great to kind of get some examples from you. And what I wanted to ask you actually on that point is, when it comes to WhatsApp, could you maybe talk us through, say, for example, like, a checkout to reorder flow that maybe, sort of cut down the CAC and lifted the conversion rate?
So, so you wanted to understand, let's say, from a checkout point of view. Okay. So, firstly, this WhatsApp product can be very closely integrated on checkout, and so that is why those abandoned cart recoveries and all work very well on WhatsApp. So, for example, if someone was looking for a product and they added the product to the cart, but due to some reason they abandoned the checkout. All right. Now an automatic trigger can be sent on WhatsApp. Hey Adam, you were looking for these three products with proper images. If you complete the transaction in next 5 minutes, you will get additional 10% off. And just in the UK market, we have seen a 15 to 20% conversion rate on every abandoned cart. So which means with the same marketing budget, with the same number of customers coming to your platform, now you have a 20% higher revenue realization every month. So yeah, in fact, the most amazing use case which I see in the UK market is this, because what the number shows is, if you, let's say, if as a brand you are doing 100 orders a day, typically you have 2.5 to 3x number of abandoned carts, and if you are able to convert 15 to 20% of that, you have good amount of extra money which you can spend on marketing and other activities.
Absolutely. And I think, that's those stats are, I think if people are listening, if you just go and look at your abandoned carts after the podcast today and think about that from a 15% recovery rate, look, you can do the math yourself and work it out what that would be. Even if it was to, achieve 50% of that, 7.5%, that's still going to be a significant boost to what they've got. And obviously the cost of it is tiny. I suppose that, we spoke about this earlier, not what I just mentioned about, we mentioned this word spammy, and I know you're very used to people kind of coming to you and saying, etc. Is it spammy, blah, blah, blah. But from that point of view, what kind of rules keep it from not being spammy when you're first initially using GoKwik?
The thing is, at least in a new market like UK, we don't leave it to the brands to try and test from day one. So what we do is, we have hired a team of WhatsApp experts who has basically learned from the markets which we are operating in, because in Asian market, 80% of all communication happens on WhatsApp. So the share of email and SMS is just 20%, because 80% of communication is happening on WhatsApp. So they know that what works in a particular category and what not. In fact, what communication should go out on what hour of the day and what part of the week. All right, and depending on category to category. So they have those learnings from different markets. Now, so at least, so that is why we have such high success rate in the UK market, is because we handhold the brand for the first 3 to 4 months, so that they can achieve a 15 to 20x ROI on whatever they are spending on WhatsApp, because it's a new channel. So it has a learning curve. So that is why we have to assign these WhatsApp experts, so that people learn the art of using WhatsApp. And also for an agency, so I was telling it some agency owner that this is our only, so this is it's a very new channel, and here a small agency can win against a big agency if they are really creative. Because on WhatsApp you have all kind of flexibility, how beautiful an image you can send, how beautiful a GIF you can create, what different videos can you send at various different stages of e-commerce journey. It can be an how-to video, it can be a post-purchase video. So even a small agency can also make money if they are creative enough. And because it's a two-way conversation, so you can always say that, okay, when the customer is reverting back, again, what kind of communication will go out. So if you are really, and see, the thing is, the agencies are same, but they don't have this flexibility on an email and SMS because it's a one-way street.
Exactly. I mean, that's, you know, kind of what struck me, I think, about what you guys have done is that you effectively, all these barriers and all these roadblocks that you get as either an internal email marketer for a brand or as an agency, you're taking those out of the situation. And it's kind of like saying to an email marketer, look, the shackles are off now. You can do more of what you want to do. You can get the quicker response times. You can be more conversational. You know, if you think about email, you know, look, when people try to do quizzes or they try and do kind of, you know, in email polls or email surveys, the way you can do that with WhatsApp is so much cleaner and much easier to interact with. I think this is an interesting point, though, is what I tend to find, I think, you know, over sort of my experience in e-commerce is when a new channel comes in, people will take a predetermined idea of how you use that from a previous one using that. So let's take, for example, TikTok. When TikTok first came in, everyone went, okay, this is just like Instagram. The timings, the scheduling will do exactly the same thing. And then they go, it's not working. It doesn't work. It doesn't work as a channel. So on that note, with WhatsApp, and let's compare that to, say, email marketing, for the timings for things like cart nudges, a delivery update, upsells, is the timing different to what it would be with email? And what is kind of the interplay that you have between email and WhatsApp on that front?
Absolutely. So in fact, both email. So in ideal cases, email and WhatsApp should go together. All right, at least for confirmation, order confirmations, order tracking, for these kind of things, and both an email and a WhatsApp should be sent in parallel. And then as a brand, slowly and so we never ask any brand to stop email on day one. All right, we are like, you stop sending SMS, send email and WhatsApp together, and slowly and steadily start measuring the impact. And then let's say if you see that WhatsApp is performing well for you in terms of ROI, then slowly and steadily you can reduce the number of use cases you have on email, but keep sending both, because there are certain set of audience which like to receive an email. And one thing which is very good on email is that the creative can be very beautiful, which is the same thing replicated on WhatsApp also. So at least it is visually appealing. So the open rates is a challenge, but even once you open it, it is visually appealing. So at least send both of them. And once, let's say, you get a certain ROI on WhatsApp, then slowly and steadily you can reduce the number of emails. Otherwise, it's fine, because email doesn't cost you a bomb. It is still very nominal in pricing. So you can have both. But yeah, during campaign, when you have to run a campaign, WhatsApp is the best channel, because let's say if your campaign will only last for 24 hours. All right, that the customer will open your communication during that period. Even if, let's say, the campaign is only valid for 3 hours, you run, let's say, a 50% off for 3 hours. That WhatsApp is the only channel where 90% of the user will read your message. All right. Yeah. So in a short window of time, if you want to create an impact, WhatsApp can be an amazing channel. In fact, I'll give you you were just talking about, let's say, running polls, quizzes on email. In fact, on WhatsApp, it works in a very awesome way. I'll give you an example. See, every month you don't have a reason to reach out to the customers, but typically, let's say during a game night, let's say you have a big game, Chelsea versus Liverpool, something like that. Customers get a message on WhatsApp, hey, who do you think will win the match? And they can select on one of the options. Once they click on one of the options, they see the live voting, that okay, 70% of the people have voted for, let's say, Liverpool, 30% on that, and they get a message that if your team wins, you'll get a 20% off this night. Right. So once, let's say, the results are out, immediately they will get a 20% voucher. Yeah. All right, polling, quizzes, people see real-time updates on WhatsApp, that how other people are answering to those quizzes or polls. So it is highly interactive. So in during a regular part of a month, when you don't have anything to upsell, cross-sell, but this is how you can engage the customers as well. You can gamify the entire experience.
And it seems like with that as well, you can be a lot more reactive than perhaps you can be with email, because I think that's the thing that brands always try, aspire to, isn't it? It's being able to react to things that are happening right now. And it's very easy to do that on social media, but from a throughput point of view of how you then turn that into a saleable action, it's a bit more difficult. Whereas I think with this, you're kind of in that nice in-between phase of social and email where you can do things that are more reactive and are quicker to do. So yeah, I love that idea. I think now Peter's going to be a little bit mean and ask you some challenging questions, maybe. Is that a fair way to describe it, Peter?
I just had a big laugh there, but you didn't hear me because I was on mute. Yeah, I think I did these. I planned these questions in advance because it's what goes on in my head about SMS. Like I said earlier, I'm a skeptic, but you are winning me over massively already, and I'm already understanding more where this sits in the stack. I think in my mind, I was thinking, this is just another marketing channel, email, SMS. So I'm starting to understand where this is more of a retention tool and how you bring that in. But before I get that, I love the strategy you brought up about SMSing. Not SMSing, WhatsApping when a game's on and giving 20% discount. It reminds me, I don't know if you've ever heard of Mattress Mac in the US. So he used to hedge his bets. Like, I think it was for the Super Bowl. He used to run for like 2 or 3 weeks beforehand. He used to run everybody that buys, if X team wins, you will get your money back on your purchase. And what he was doing was he was taking that money that he was going to go hedge his bets, and he hedged it against with a bet. So ultimately, he profited no matter which way it went down, because he got more sales during the time. And then if he won, it was basically just the big hedge to pay off his customers that needed their full money return. So he was just taking, as they purchased, he just put more bets on as he purchased. So yeah, it's pretty cool how he did that.
In game theory, the crowd always wins. So whatever the crowd is predicting, basically it's very near to the end result.
Yeah. So I think he used to do it. I'm not 100% sure. I think he did it with the underdog. So he always bet on the underdog, and he said, if the underdog wins, you get your money back. And he's famous for having, I think, the biggest win ever or something. I think it's about 75 million or 80 million or something that he won on some bets just by doing that. Crazy. Okay, I'm going to switch roles, and I'm going to go full on devil's advocate here. Isn't WhatsApp just spam 2.0?
No, it's not. So in fact, if you use it for the right use cases, and in fact, if you leave aside, let's say the marketing, then also it can help you save more revenue. So the example I was giving was, let's say, abandoned cart recovery. Use it for abandoned cart recovery. Make additional 15 to 20% revenues month over month. So no need to do marketing till the time you are confident enough yourself as a brand.
And then when you are confident as a brand, how do you do that marketing? How do you acquire customers with WhatsApp?
So see, the thing is, every website has these pop-ups where you ask customers to leave their emails and emails for, let's say, to unlock a 10% off so that you can reach out to them. So similarly, now brands do it via that channel. So leave your email and mobile, let's say, for WhatsApp, and you'll start getting and to unlock additional offers. So you start acquiring mobile numbers from there. Then second thing is, through checkouts you start getting it. Through order confirmation messages, you start acquiring those numbers. So there are like multiple ways to keep acquiring more mobile numbers from your user. Also the consent, so that you can reach out to them in future. So once you start getting mobile numbers of the users, you can always reach out to them, and slowly and steadily. In fact, many brands ask me that hey, I've not saved any mobile number of my users, will I be able to use the service? So we tell them that, okay, the service starts with, let's say, getting more and more mobile numbers. So we'll implement various use cases so that you can start collecting more and more mobile numbers, because we are not there to market on day one. So slowly and steadily, with basic use cases, you start both communicating to the customers as well as getting consents and acquiring more and more mobile numbers. So you build with us.
So are you guys integrated with some of the bigger players on the SMS space?
So not yet. But we are right now doing our integration with Klaviyo, because many people ask us that we want a singular view of, let's say, how our campaigns are performing, and also we are integrating with Klaviyo.
Okay, so it'll all play nicely together as well, so you can then plan out those different flows with it. So
Absolutely.
I actually baited you into the next question. Data privacy nightmare. What about GDPR?
So yeah, so in both Europe and UK, we have to comply with GDPR. So from day one, we started taking consents from user, though it took us time to, let's say. So that is why, in fact, it played to our benefit that we didn't push to even if, let's say, brand started to market their product, we said we don't have enough mobile numbers because we don't have the consent. So slowly and steadily, once we started getting consents, it took us 30, 40, 50 days to get significant amount of mobile numbers to reach out. So because on the back of our mind, we have to be GDPR compliant. So yeah, so we followed that from day one. And because we have a public app on Shopify also, so we have to ensure that we are GDPR throughout our lifetime.
Yeah. Easy to opt out?
Every message, whether it's an order confirmation message or a marketing message, every message has a stop button. So you click on stop, you are unsubscribed.
That easy. So
Yeah.
it's as easy as that for anybody. Just to click stop, done.
Absolutely. On email, you click on unsubscribe, it will take you to a link. Then also there are like many steps. Sometimes brands make it so difficult. But WhatsApp has made it mandatory that every message has a stop button. You click there, done.
Yeah. I know there was a problem with SMS on a few platforms where people were saying, stop sending me, or not stop sending me, don't send me messages. And then it wasn't stopping because they're not sending that exact keyword stop.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot easier when there's just a quick little button, isn't it?
Yeah.
Next one. Will customers resend brands in their private chats?
I didn't understand. Will customers
resend? I've worded this thing terribly. My apologies. Will customers reach out to brands in their private chats? So conversation stops. Do they trigger the conversation themselves? Is that when the bot kicks in, or is that the your agent?
It can be both ways. So we have a dashboard where you can automate different flows. So a customer can reach out to, let's say, I have received the product, but if I have any doubt, I will on the same chat window, all right, which will now act like a, let's say, an order. So see, I used to give this example again and again. Why people love large marketplaces like Amazon is because there is one order section where you can click and see your entire history, that what products have you bought over the last 2, 3, 4 years. Similarly on WhatsApp, let's say your brand is, let's say, brand.com, you'll get a message from there. When you click there, you will see your history of last purchases, what communication you had with the brand, and throughout your life you can maintain those history. So as a brand, let's say if you send me this t-shirt, I have some problem, or let's say if I don't like the color, I will write, let's say, hey, do you have a different t-shirt do you have a different color? Or like, if most of the time the agents are the automatic agents are able to pick it up, and they will send you a link of a, let's say if this is a blue t-shirt, let's say a green t-shirt, you can send them a link. So this conversation starts to happen between, let's say, an AI agent and the customer. But if, let's say, the customer is still not happy, automatically they get a message that, hey, for a detailed custom discussion, why don't you reach out to us on this email, or let's say call us up. So it can be triggered in both ways. So first, it can be a conversation between an agent, AI agent, and customer, and also a real agent can also jump in between. For example, from the same dashboard which the brand has, a real agent can start chatting with, let's say, an Adam or a Peter. So if they can observe that, okay, they are not happy with the AI answers, so they can always jump in between. And you have multiple ticketing system, you have multiple agents who you can use the dashboard to reply to the customers.
Oh, that's really handy. Next one for you. Great in India, but will it scale in the UK and US?
So actually, in India, it started off pretty well, but the market became really competitive for us, all right, because the opportunity was big, so everyone started using it. But in UK, there were like so much skepticism in the early days. But I'll tell you, the best I had the best experience in UK because the market was wide open. People like to try newer things, and because other channels were so saturated, so results started to come on WhatsApp. And at least for the next 2-3 years, whatever brands will use it, they will have the first movers advantage because their competitors are not doing it on WhatsApp. So in UK, I had an amazing dream run since the last 7-8 months. In fact, interestingly, in US, so we don't sell it in the US, but this product can work anywhere. So in fact, 3 of our brands reached out to us and they said that we want to market on WhatsApp in US. So I got in a call with them. I said, but in US, people don't use WhatsApp. So what he told me was what like mind blowing to me. So he said 30% of the customers in US, they started using WhatsApp now, which means the population which is using WhatsApp is bigger than UK. So
Yeah.
so for whatever 40-50% customers he was getting from US, they keep sending WhatsApp messages to them now. All right. And if they have a WhatsApp installed on their phone, they get a message. Otherwise, um, um, it gets failed. And beauty of WhatsApp is that you are only charged for the delivered messages. So so in fact, this data point came from 3 brands itself. We are not present there, but the service is worldwide because WhatsApp is owned by Meta. So today, if a brand asks me that, okay, I have 30% customers in US, 20% in Middle East, 10% in Africa, will you be able to support that? We said yes, because it's a worldwide service.
Yeah.
So you can send it anywhere.
Awesome. Okay, last one from me. The last nasty. Won't this cannibalize your high converting email list?
I don't think so, because anyway, with let's say whatever 12-15% open rate email has, you can always use that. But slowly and steadily, once the open rate of emails were 80% also. But if the customers are moving away from email, it is not that WhatsApp is making them. So let's say WhatsApp for business or GoKwik is making them move there. It's a gradual shift of the customer. So till the time customers are there on the email, you can reach out to them. You are more than open to that. But as more and more customers and as more and more Gen Zs will come, Gen Alpha, Gen X will come, you will see a gradual shift towards WhatsApp. And in fact, maybe 5 years down the line, there is a new. All right, then we can have a similar conversation with WhatsApp also, that WhatsApp is so saturated and all. So we don't know. Maybe 5 years down the line, there is a new chat app where people are talking to each other.
Do you sell stuff online? Then you need OmniSend. Yes, that OmniSend. The powerful yet refreshingly intuitive email and SMS tool that helps you make $73 on average for every dollar spent. Like watching steady lines go up and up and up? Just automate your email and SMS campaigns with OmniSend. Set it up once, then sit back and watch the sales roll in while you snooze. You're still awake? Then go to omnisend.com/ECC. Give OmniSend a try and start getting sales so steady they'll definitely put you to sleep. Don't forget to use code ECC30 for a 30% discount.
So Abhishek, you've been, I think, look, very fair in this podcast there about saying, look, it isn't about just saying, look, put everything into WhatsApp. It's about still using the other channels. And I think, yeah, that's really important. I think refreshing to hear, because look, we all know in e-commerce, you need multiple tools, you need multiple channels to keep that business going and growing. I suppose the question I'm thinking about here is that from a WhatsApp perspective, what can you do from a WhatsApp prompt point of view to then keep that email list growing rather than sort of shrinking it?
See, to be very honest, I don't know how the email list will keep growing, because I have seen it going the other way. But I think again, it's up to the marketers and the agencies, and how can they keep increasing the email list. All right, but to be honest, the other way doesn't work. That through, let's say, WhatsApp, I can help brands in increasing the email list. I have not seen that trend anywhere.
Awesome. And I suppose the other thing here is that if you're thinking about kind of that process of sort of looping customers back to rich content or loyalty offers and email, what are the sort of tactics or playbooks for doing that?
So, can you elaborate your question a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm just thinking about, look, if we're trying to use email and WhatsApp together as a way to ultimately drive towards that sale,
Yeah.
are there any kind of, I guess, particular tactics that you can use within WhatsApp and email to drive that customer to the sale, where they're working kind of hand in hand?
Absolutely. See, the reason email and SMS, I'm saying you can send it in both way. There will be a certain percentage of customers. Let's say in our portfolio, we see a 1.4% unsubscription rate for WhatsApp. All right. Though people said that maybe it will be 10-20% in UK market, but still it's 1.4%. So for those 1.4%, which means emails work for them. All right. So at least people will be able to consume your content, your communication on email slowly and steadily. Uh, and also, see, with email, the thing is, once on email, the best thing you can do is you can share a link on which people can click and move somewhere. All right. But on WhatsApp, because it's conversational, so all the campaign or all the communication will keep happening there till the time the customer makes up their mind to make a purchase. And in fact, one very interesting thing about WhatsApp is, once anyone, let's say, click on shop now, they are directly sent to add to cart.
Yep,
All right.
absolutely.
So they don't have to land on some again product discovery page. They can be sent to directly add to cart. And from there, let's say, so see, during the entire journey of e-commerce, still you can try to place different communication at different stages on both, on emails also. So see, again, so that is why I left it to, let's say, a marketer's or an agency's creativity, that how can we do different things on email and WhatsApp both. What I can personally do is, we can have all the agencies talk to our WhatsApp experts also, because they know that, okay, how WhatsApp and emails can work in tandem. I have less knowledge than what these people have, so happy to in fact create a playbook also and share it with the audience. I'm happy to do that.
No, that's excellent. And I think, look, this is the really nice thing about you guys as well, is that when you appreciate, look, this is a new thing that people are looking into and exploring it. And you give the time to those brands and to those agencies when they need to kind of learn more, which is great. I think what I wanted to do now, Abhishek, is we've got some questions from the audience, some sort of quite specific strategy ones. So I'm going to actually bring these up on the screen. So the first one we've got here is, can you run review quests through it? Like can you run quests through it if you're using Judge Me?
Absolutely. So most of our brands, what they do is after the purchases, they send they ask for rating on WhatsApp, that it can be 1, 2, 3, 4 stars. So let's say you click on 3, 4, 5. Once you do that, immediately you get a message of, let's say, a trust pilot or a Judge Me, so that people can submit their reviews. So if, let's say, if the customer doesn't like the product, they give you a 1 or 2 stars, so you can always talk back to the customers on the same chat window that, hey, how can we improve our services? Why didn't you like my last product? All right. So slowly, but yes, if a customer want to publish a review, they can directly do it on WhatsApp.
Awesome. We've got another question here as well, quite a long one. So it says, what are your suggested strategies for WhatsApp when it comes to an e-commerce brand that's not intrusive but effective? And do you feel that it's relevant to have one platform for abandonment and so on, or tinting EMP and WhatsApp?
I don't know what is EMP, but I understood.
I think it might be email marketing provider.
Okay. Relevant. Sure. So I think I covered this during our early conversation, that if you don't want the communication to be intrusive, you should start with basic use cases like order confirmation, order tracking, feedbacks, gamify the entire process, let's say by doing polls, quizzes. And these polls and quizzes can be also around, what do you like about our product? How can we improve it? Or like send newsletters to the customers. Then slowly and so slowly and steadily in a matter of, let's say, 30, 40, 50 days, move towards marketing, because the other things which I am talking about will start even showing you repeat purchases, even when you are not directly asking the customer to buy a product. But the way you can gamify it will induce a purchase, even though when you are not just marketing a particular set of products.
Great, thank you. So I think we've got a few more questions that we kind of before. So Peter, shall I pop these up on screen?
Yeah, I got one there. Fastest WhatsApp win you've ever witnessed?
So fastest WhatsApp win for in terms of brands, or
Somebody that's implemented and all of a sudden started generating revenue.
Okay. So in fact, the fastest win we had was during the just before the Black Friday sale. We had this brand, and in fact, before Black Friday, we hardly had like 20 brands using our services. So at least one of our oldest brand, which was using the product in UK, and oldest means they were just using our product for the last 30-35 days. So we realized that now at least we have reached a position where we can market on their behalf. So Black Friday sale was there. So we told them that, okay, give us the WhatsApp channel. Let us market your product heavily on WhatsApp, because now we have enough mobile numbers and everything. So they said, okay. So they were running their campaigns on email and SMS themselves, and we started handling WhatsApp. And during the Black Friday sale, we just blasted on WhatsApp because the audience was warmed up about there. And that brand was doing 12 million pound a year in revenue, and we made them hit 1 million pound in a day on WhatsApp.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
There we go. Fastest WhatsApp win. There it is. 1 million in one day.
In one day, and only for one reason, because every other brand was sending messages on email and SMS. All right, and there was no one sending on WhatsApp in UK. And we were only just keep sending it, and that too at multiple periods of time. And we knew that people will open it, because they were thinking that, okay, maybe their friends and family are sending it. But then remember that brand, because that brand has sent them order confirmation, order tracking, everything. So it worked out really well. So in fact, our claim to fame in the early days was this brand, which gave us multiple referrals in the UK market. We published this case study, and so it gave us an early boost during that period.
Awesome.
I have a feeling this next one, you might have just already answered that, but one rookie mistake brands keep making with chat apps.
Marketing, day one marketing.
You mean they are using it as marketing, trying to use it as acquisition and not retention?
Absolutely, they are using it a lot. In fact, at least in UK, brands are very careful. But in other markets, I have seen that people get a list of mobile numbers, and they from some source, and they bombard it. So in fact, what ends up happening is your Meta account also gets suspended for a period of time. All right. So in fact, the compliances are also hard on Meta and all. In fact, so that is why when we run a campaign and everything, we help brands to create templates, and we send it to Meta for approval process. So that approval process is few minutes, because we have a direct channel with Meta, but it's approval process. There are certain brand categories where you can't market, and also so the rookie mistake is just getting, let's say, a certain set of mobile numbers and just bombarding, because once if many people start marking it as spam, WhatsApp will close your channel.
Has that limit, do you think, decreased with the more people that have started adopting?
So see, the limit is basically brand to brand. In fact, for any brand, even if you, let's say, acquire 10,000 mobile numbers, but you, in terms of marketing, when you are doing your first marketing campaign, if you send messages to all 10,000, you will be flagged. All right.
Okay.
So what Meta says is that even if you are marketing, you will send it to, let's say, 10% of your audience, 20% of your audience, and they observe that what are the unsubscription rate, how many people are marking it spam. So slowly and steadily, your limit is increased.
Yeah. So they basically protecting their brand with very strict rules on how you can do that.
Absolutely.
Channel you'd bet on after WhatsApp? You're a brave man to choose anything at the moment with everything changing.
So I think the next biggest channel is Instagram comments.
Okay.
So we have already implemented it in Asian market it is working like a charm, but now we are moving it to UK also, because there we have many brands who are using it. So once you run an ad, or let's say you have a brand page where, let's say, you put out a post that, okay, we have launched this set of clothing line, or let's say a beauty product. Many people ask that, okay, price please, when can I get it? So automatically, our chatting agents start answering that, because see, WhatsApp is owned by Meta, so both Instagram and WhatsApp can be connected in a very well, in an amazing manner. So in fact, in Asian market, you can bring a customer directly from an ad on Instagram to WhatsApp, because their mobile number is the primary key. But now what we are trying, but in this market, email is the primary key, so that is why you can't just directly bring the customers to WhatsApp, but we can give a similar experience on the comment section.
Okay.
So once, let's say, users ask any question, we can automate replies, we can automate upsells, cross sells, many things. So we are trying to implement it so the next biggest shift will be your Instagram comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. One last one here. Email flow you would never turn off, even with chat crushing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, everything will take its own due course, or like whether it will go up or down. So in fact, we are not there to, in fact, totally crush it. It's up to the brand that, see, everyone has limited money to spend. So whether it's email, SMS, WhatsApp, some other channel, you have to measure your ROI.
Yeah.
All right. So and it depends on brand to brand. If a particular, I have talked to brands who has a 60% open rates on email, though the customer base is small, but still they have a 60% open rate. So
Yeah.
so we never say them, let's crush email. So you just measure your ROI, and it should every channel should start giving you incremental revenue. So so the story is different for different brands, but you have to measure your own ROIs.
Yeah. Omni-channel for sure, not 100%. Cool. Abhishek, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast today. And I really appreciate you entertaining me with all my devil advocate type style questions to you. You have won me over. I do see how this is a tool. Yeah, maybe I don't personally like receiving one, but that's me. Maybe one day I'll be converted on that front. But I think as a tool, 100% the data speaks for itself. And really appreciate you actually explaining this in so much detail so that I fully understand myself. And I hope our listeners got to understand what the channel can do for them as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
And Abhishek, if obviously people want to reach out and find more out on about what we talked about today, what do they need to do and where do they need to go?
So either they can reach out to me on LinkedIn, if you can share my LinkedIn with them, or happy to share my direct email also for your users. So whatever works, I'm happy to. I'm happy to talk to them, understand their problem statements, and our team will work very closely with them to tailor to that, to cater to their very tailored needs. That whatever problems they are facing, happy to review them and try to help them in best possible ways.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Abhishek. And guys, I've just shared Abhishek's LinkedIn profile in the comments here. So as Peter said, Abhishek, thank you so much for being with us today. Guys, thank you so much as well for joining us as well. If you have liked what you've listened to today, do obviously go and have a look at what Abhishek and his team are doing, and do give us a like and a review on the listening platform of your choice. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the eCom Collab Club podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and join our community at ecomcollabclub.com/community.